Hello! In this video I will showcase the team that I've been using most of the time in Kanto Cup, and this is a very unique team where all three Pokemon has dark and electric type charge moves, which means that they can hit either neutral or super effective damage on every single Pokemon in the entire Kanto Cup. This team is very hard to play and requires good energy counting and wing condition recognition and shield management, but thankfully it's not bait dependent. And when looking at PvPoke, this team is absolute garbage with low ranking and bad coverage, but I think it's a great anti-meta team, and since it consists of 3 generalists, you don't have to worry about switch advantage most of the time, and rather choose shield advantage or energy advantage. The biggest problem though is that the total damage output is really bad since many attacks are without stab, so you start the battle in an uphill position, but that just makes it more fun. So now let's start the run, and my first opponent is Bobo Koopal, and he leads with Poliwrath. So this is a bad matchup as long as the shields are up, because he is for sure going to shield any charge move in case of a wild charge. So I switch into Electrode and he stays in, which I found weird. So I make one extra Volt Switch in case he wanted to switch out and catch the discharge on something else. But he switches afterwards instead, so I could get the shield and then get another shield. So now I have a 2-0 shield advantage, which is absolutely amazing for Arcanine, because now I will be able to charge up a ton of energy. Even though these bone clubs are not going to take me out since it's a terrible move, it will still deal basically half of the HP on Shadow Arcanine. So I'm still going to shield them, and now I have back-to-back charge moves. So as soon as I see the typing of Poliwrath in the top right, I use my Wild Charge and it's gone, and then my opponent's last Pokemon is a Snorlax. And here I make a switch for no real reason. I could have just stayed in and used my Wild Charge, because I would have won CMP. But instead I switched, and it actually doesn't matter since I'm in a winning position either way. Next up is a game against Bonn, and he leads with Rapidash, which nowadays has Incinerate, which is a 5-turn fast move, so it's very important that I time my charge moves correctly, so that I don't get piggybacked, which he didn't. He let me piggyback him by using only 3 Incinerates instead of 4, which is a mistake. So now I'm way ahead in energy, and I use 1 Snarl before using my charge move so that he doesn't get the piggyback, and he uses 2 shields and I will shield twice, and I'm easily going to reach another charge move before him. But he switches it out, and as soon as I see the fairy typing in the top right, I go into Muck, and then I time my charge move here so that I don't get piggybacked, because if he had gotten the piggyback there, he would have been able to reach a charge move. And here I can make 2 poison jabs before using my charge move, and I hoped that the Thunder Punch would take it out, but it didn't, so I'm forced to use 1 more. And then my opponent's last Pokemon is Pidgeot, which doesn't stand a single chance against Electrode. And next up is a game against Uroboros, and she leads with Shadow Hypno. So this is not a matchup that I like, since she can basically farm down all the way with only confusions. But I make my crunch after 5 Snarls to make it 1 turn before she reaches her own charge move, and she makes 1 extra confusion before throwing, so I will have to use a shield to reach my second crunch, and I will force a 2 shield advantage. And then I switch into Electrode immediately so that I don't get farmed down. I don't want to give any extra energy to that Hypno. But then she catches a foul play with her Alolan Marowak, so I'm totally okay with that, because I will be able to take it out with another foul play, and now I have a shield advantage. And her last Pokemon is Alolan Mook. So in this position, my only win condition is to catch one of the charge moves from Alolan Mook on Arcanine. So I'm counting carefully, and as soon as she reaches the next Dark Pulse, I catch it. So at this point I just need to make sure that I have energy to KO the Hypno in the back, and as soon as she switches I use my Dark Pulse and KO it, and now I'm out of range for a Dark Pulse. And after this Dark Pulse, I will use one more Poison Jab, since that's basically a free Poison Jab, because it takes 2 turns, and Snarl takes 3 turns for my opponent. So that's it. My next opponent is Tibron Tank in game number 4 of the set, and he leads with Gyarados, and this Gyarados has Waterfall, so I really need to get out of there. And I managed to connect with 2 Volt Switches with Electrode on his Gyarados, so that's amazing, which puts me in a big energy lead against this Hypno. So now he's done 4 Confusions, so this is a CMP, and if he wants to keep the switch advantage, he will have to use 1 more shield, since the next charge move is also a CMP, since the first punch takes 4 Confusions and then the following 2 takes 3. So now I'm going to let this go and hopefully be able to farm down with Arcanine. And I know that if he is not KO'd by 3 Snarls, then I will have to use a charge move to not be forced to use my last shield, because that was a CMP. And then he switches into Gyarados and I switch out to Mach, and I need to use my shield here to preserve my health. And hopefully there's something in the back that Mach can handle, since Arcanine is basically gone, and there is an Alakazam in the back, which is great, because Alakazam is too glassy and it's not going to be able to reach any hard-hitting charge move, and a Dark Pulse will one-hit KO. My last opponent is Loidu, and this game is actually pretty incredible. He leads with Wigglytuff, which is a very common lead, so I know how I like to play this. So I double up on my wild charges, and if they don't shield, I switch into Electrode, but if they do shield, I just throw the second wild charge. So now I switch into Electrode, and what I've basically done is that I've given him the switch advantage and the shield advantage, but I have a big energy advantage on both Arcanine and on Electrode. So I will be able to take back the shield advantage here, since 2 discharges plus some Volt Switches would have been able to KO the Clefable. But I'm still not in a good position, since he has 2 Charmers, he's likely to have a poison counter in the back. So I'm forced to shield this Psychic, and his last Pokemon is an Alolan Mook. And here I have only got 1 win condition, and that is to both catch his charge move on Arcanine and force his lost shield with the wild charge. So I keep track on his energy, and now he's 1 Snarl away from another charge move. So I make 1 more Poison Jab and then switch in half a second before he reaches his charge move, and I use wild charge and I manage to hit the CMB. So that's absolutely perfect for me, and now with 1 HP left I will be able to KO his Charmer in the back, since Poison Jab only takes 2 turns while the Charm damage takes 3 turns, so my damage will register before his. So there you have it, it's a 5-0 run with a fairly spicy and unique team. Thanks for watching.